got no soul to call my own. Went to the crossroads to sing this song. Crazy little man with a great big home.
My name's Derek Russell. I'm in the Eldorados of South Muckleford Car Club. My car's a 1950 Ford Club Coupe.
On my head now, flaming down below. I was finger picking songs I never knew before.
I found the car on eBay in Texas, in the United States. I'd actually sold an XP Falcon station wagon that I had in order to buy a spinner, and then I found this one. Sort of was a good price, good looking car, so I jumped on it, and then I did all the importation myself and got it brought over, and about 2.5 months later I had it. Went down to Melbourne, picked it up, and then just drove it home straight from the docks and started having fun. It's a 1950 Ford Club Coupe, and a lot of people normally when they do a roof chop, they chop a 2-door sedan, which has a longer roof line and a bigger rear quarter windows. So a lot of people sort of said that you can't, they never look good when you chop a coupe, and that's why we went for tried to make the profile look good and make it look neat, because the whole point of a roof chop is to improve on the factory's body lines, in my opinion anyway. So if you have it looking a lot nicer, and because they were a bit bubbly, the roof on them from factory, so if you take a few inches out of it and drop it down to get a nice look side on, I think it makes the car look really neat. The 8BA flathead, which is a stock engine with a 3-speed manual gearbox. It's got 397s and headers and a twin exhaust. So it's pretty much stock. But in the future, I haven't decided whether I'll leave the flathead or I am tossing around the idea of putting in a Buick Nailhead or an Olds Rocket V8 into it, just to get a little bit more power and a little bit more fun, although the flathead does look really cool, so I think it's going to be a tough decision. I got the car with the intention of just cleaning it up a bit and driving it a whole bunch, and then it's the whole sort of thing snowballed, because I had to change a leaky rear main seal in the flathead, and then that somehow led to doing a roof chop on it. So me and Aaron and Tex were always discussing, and they're always going, you got to chop it, but I wanted it chopped, that's how they look cool, I reckon, but I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to tackle that. So it was the combination of a leaky rear main seal, and I accidentally broke the quarter window glass one day, and then we decided, well, if the quarter window glass is broken, may as well just take it off the road and just rip the roof off it and drop it down a couple inches. So we, one weekend we decided to start it, did a whole bunch of measuring, heaps and heaps of measuring and planning and looking at photos before we figured out exactly what we wanted. And then it became more like our project rather than just my own, because there was we were here every weekend doing it and stuff and working on it together, and I was learning a bunch off them and having good times. So we did our measurements, chopped the roof, took it off, took out what we wanted out of the A pillars and then the B pillars, and then we just lent the rear windscreen down to where we thought it would look good in terms of flow and overall side profile of the car. And then I decided that I may as well bare metal it while I'm at it, because half the roof was bare metaled, so bare metal the whole car, and then fix the flathead up properly and put some, got a nice little intake manifold, half polished that up, rebuilt some 97s for it, put them on, gave the engine a nice coat of gold paint, and got all the glass done again, all the front glass anyway, and new tyres and painted the wheels, and got it to the stage where it's at now. But it's really only about a quarter done at the moment, so soon enough I'll just keep working on it, and it'll be a project. As I drive it, I think I'll just keep working on it and having fun. Me and Aaron have peaked the bonnet, so we've taken out the centre gutter where the stainless strip used to go, and we've replaced it with a nice peak that Aaron folded up at work, and we basically cut the centre out of the bonnet, put this one in, squared it all up, put it all in, and now it's just a matter of tapping it up and finishing it off so it all looks smooth and looks nice. I guess my love for cars sort of started being brought up around a lot of race car events and stuff like that. Both my parents were always taking me from when I was a baby to all the historic car racing events. My old man had multiple race cars that he would go and compete on the weekends and stuff in these events. So I was sort of, you know, always influenced by the older stuff and just, you know, people going fast and loud cars and stuff like that. So yeah, I got like that, and then I guess growing up next to Eddie Ford and you know, Ryan Ford, living next door to the car museum and always poking my head in through the window and looking at all the old American cars, and going around to Ryan's house and seeing what was in the shed, or you know, Ryan was a little bit older than me, so what he was working on, and then that'd, you know, get me excited to do stuff like that. And that sort of just grew. Like, you get something and mess around with that, and then you'll graduate onto a better car or the next car that you want to have, and then it just becomes an obsession or a passion. So you have fun doing it, and you always want to sort of enjoy the car you're working on, and it's all leading towards a goal of driving it around. So if you're always working on it and making it look cooler, and then someone will come around and say, you know, that looks cool, or you know, car's really looking neat, so it gives you that passion to keep going and do some more and enjoy your hobby. But eventually there's a lot more custom bodywork that I want to do to it. We want to French the headlights, French the tail lights, smooth the boot lid off and put my number plate onto the rear bar, finish all the side glass, all the interior I want done in a white tuck and roll, full custom, like everything tuck and rolled, the parcel tray underneath the firewall, a whole bunch of stuff. And as for paint colour, I'm not really sure yet, because it's sort of, I've tossed around with the idea of doing it in a satin paint, but everyone in the club seems to be thinking that it should be gloss. But the only problem that I have with gloss is if it's gloss, I won't want to drive it as much. So yeah, but gloss black is sort of what's being thrown around, but that's not my decision apparently, so we'll see what happens. The Eldorados started a few years ago when Ryan and Kyle and Willow, I think, started it up probably three years ago or something like that. And they started the club with, I don't even know what their intentions were, just to have a car club where they could all be part of and hang out and talk. And then, you know, I got asked into it, and then other guys got asked into it, and slowly it's grown to, I think, 12 of us now. The Eldorados actually comes from Ryan's old man Eddie Ford. That's his farm is called Eldorado, and it's in South Muckleford, and it's the graveyard of all the old American cars that we've all been to and we all know and, you know, hang out at sometimes and stuff. So that's where they got the name from, the Eldorados of South Muckleford. And it's a great thing to be a part of, because we're all mates. We all hang out. We'd all hang out regardless, even if we weren't in the same car club. So we all have a passion for hot rods and customs or classic cars, and we all have different skills. Like, some people are mechanics, some people are panel beaters, painters, whatever. It's like everyone brings something to the club. If someone can't do something, then someone else will show them, or we'll talk about it enough that you learn off each other anyway, and you can bounce ideas off each other at our club meets. And if, you know, someone will say, that's a shit idea, that looks crap, don't do that, and you're like, all right, well, I won't do that then. So it's good in that way. We try and have a club meet about once every 2 weeks and hang out, and usually it's just beer, pizza, and a lot of talking shit.
Oh,
But you know, recently we've been trying to build it more up to working on each other's cars, going to each other's sheds and doing that. And I have a lot of club meets here where all the guys come around and you know we all get stuck into it, or we'll just be drinking beer as we're working, music playing. And I think that's it's a really good thing to be part of. You know, it keeps you interested. I think if you walked away from your car for a few weeks and you didn't have those guys to ring you up, how's the spinner going, how's the 32 going, or whatever, you'd lose interest, and the car could just sit there. Yeah, like that's all I do on the weekends is hang out with other guys in the car club, and we talk about cars, or drink and work on the cars, or go away to a car show or something like that. And now it's sort of, yeah, like that's, you've got all your other friends and all that, but you've got the guys in the car club, and they seem to be a huge part. We're all a huge part of each other's lives. We pretty much all have the same style in what we like in cars. So I know that if I think that something's cool for a second, and then I'll ring up, one of them like, oh, do you think I should do this? Nah. All right, well, I won't be doing that, because if they all think it looks crap, then there's a fair chance that it probably does. When I was doing the roof, it was mainly me, Aaron and Tex, sort of working on it each weekend, and they're both panel beaters, and Aaron's a coach builder as well, and so they taught me everything. I was like their apprentice, during doing that stuff. They'd tell me to do something like, right, I'll go do that, and without them I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, because I just don't have, I didn't have as many skills as I have now, but I just don't have the skills to be able to do that. I can't weld the roof and then make it look smooth and good again, that's what they do. So I think we all shared the workload fairly well, which was cool, and they came around here, and beer and food was the currency. That was all it took. So it works out well like that. You got good guys in the club that everyone's willing to have pitch in and help each other out when you need to get something done. Like I wanted to have that done running for Chop, and I could do all the mechanical stuff and bolt it all back together and make it look nice and stuff, but I still needed their help to panel beat the roof and behind the rear windscreen to the boot lid, and they'd just come around and devote their nights and their weekends to helping me do it. So it's pretty good to have guys like that, and Mitch had come around and give me a chop out when we were trying to put the gearbox back together, stuff like that. Just it's easier to have two guys, so if you can't work it out, one of you can talk about it, and then you sort of figure it out. If you want to cruise an old car, then you do it how you want it to look, and then you cruise it and have fun with it, and you should enjoy it. That's what it's all about. I think you put in the effort to make it look cool and drive good and sound good and all that sort of stuff, just so that at the end of the day, the whole point is so you can drive it. I don't think you should build cars so they sit in the shed and you never drive it. That's just a waste of money and time, in my opinion. But you build a car to have fun and look cool.
Yeah, man.